Hello everyone, my name is Nathan and today it's time for another episode of Oxygen Not Included here in the One Duplicant Challenge. In the previous episode we added this little contraption that is gonna give us quite a bit of power and it can be easily expanded upon. In preparation of today's episode I got rid of the rest of the terrain that was hanging around here because my intention is to set up a petroleum boiler of some sorts. And the reason I think it's time for petroleum is because I would like to go into space and I would like to skip all the rockets that are before petroleum. What I also did in between the episodes is I prepared the lower section here for the infinite water storage, and for that I had to basically reverse the design. So now the liquid vent is at the bottom. We're gonna fill this up with a little bit of oil and then the rest is gonna be filled up with water. I also added a mini gas pump right here, and this is gonna make sure to pump out the rest of the gases from this room, even though it is gonna take a while. Another addition that I wanted to make is for the polluted water, because we have just way too much of it. I mean, look at that. Somewhere we have to store it, and since I don't intend to store the polluted water indefinitely, I'm gonna opt for a conversion instead. For that purpose, I expanded the polluted water room right here, so it's gonna be cut off at this point once we built everything, but I added a water sieve with the overflow. So as soon as it flows through the liquid vent, and this one is overpressured, it can then continue and it's just being converted into normal water, and it's coming out here, going back over into the line that actually is responsible for cooling down the water. This also means it is first gonna go through the area where we have the radiation, and therefore should we have any germs, which at the moment I don't think we have, well, we have it in the air, which is quite ugly by the way. However, there are no germs present currently inside the polluted water, but there might be at some point. Usually polluted water only comes with germs if you actually use the toilet water, or alternatively it could also come from a vent. But there we go, we're just building the rest of the piping, then I'm gonna close this off and we should be happy. Look at that, it's an airflow tile, but it is filled with liquid, and the liquid is literally trapped in there. This is so interesting, that makes me think about exploiting this in some way or the other, but for now I think we just have to remove this. And if we place it when there is actual space for it to go somewhere, we shouldn't run into that problem. So now if I just go ahead and replace this, the water should be pushed over and it's not going to be trapped inside the tile. However, if I build this tile first and then build this one, it's going to be trapped. So in theory, we could build a layer of airflow tiles all the way around something that we want to keep in pressure. But then we have these airflow tiles also filled up with a liquid, which is then going to prevent any gases from touching the inside liquid. By the way, I took myself the liberty of installing a plugin that is continuously dropping the salt, so my duplicant doesn't have to empty the desalinator again. I think it should work the same way as the water sieve. This one here also only requires materials to be brought to it, but then it's gonna drop the polluted dirt all on its own. I hope you're okay with that. I wouldn't mind changing this again. Something else I want to prepare so I don't forget about it is in the future we want to have auto sweepers here and possibly there. You know, technically I only need one auto sweeper to cover both of these if I was able to set it up there. So theoretically we should be able to move this liquid reservoir and do something like that. So that reservoir is going to move over, and I'm also going to remove this one. I don't think we need 3 of them. Hold the phone. Wouldn't it be easier to just move the desalinator one over? Then I can have the auto sweeper in the center, but the problem is we still don't have access to the materials. Like, I need to bring back the salt. But generally, I think it's going to look a little bit better if we just put the desalinator one over. We might still have to open up this part. I mean, the amount of liquid reservoirs is simply not necessary here. So one more desalinator goes here. We can just fix the pipes here. And now we can also see the excess polluted water is being converted and then cooled down immediately. Oh, I just noticed a problem, of course. We need another bridge to decide for the direction. Right now this here isn't flowing anymore and that will lead to some problems. But if we, for instance, set up a bridge right here, this problem should be solved. There, now water coming from this direction will have the priority, so generally as long as we are pumping so much water into the base, the water sieve will have to wait for longer periods of time. Now we can have our auto sweeper right here, however we'll have to open up either the bottom or the top. Yeah, what if we actually placed it one more block higher up? That might just give us enough space. But yeah, my point was we are improving the system steadily and we'll also find a way to utilize the space still. But now it's time to think about how we want to do the petroleum boiler and how we are getting the magma upstairs. Alright then, let's dive into the planning phase of this monstrosity, and the first thing I would like to do is give me access without a liquid lock. So we're actually going to install a transit tube access point here, and all I really want is to get inside of the contraption. So we're going to do something like that, transit tube crossing, and then we go directly in. I guess we can continue the cabling right here. Then maybe use a joint plate right there. And this way we also have access to power inside of the contraption, though I don't think we need it in the magma chamber particularly. I want to leave at least 9 spaces free for the magma conversion into solidified rock. And before that we have to dump it. There are ways we can actually pump up the magma, but I think I'm gonna go with a bottle system. We'll have to see, because the pumping usually is extremely annoying. Let's make a little division here. How much space is this? The magma would have to flow about 20 or so tiles. Honestly, probably a little bit more. Yeah, we'll have to flow probably up to this point and then drop the magma. Magma only flows about 10 tiles from the source, which means we have to make a staircase pattern. I'm gonna do about 9 tiles just to be safe, and then another 9 tiles like so. And this would be the final layer where we want to start dropping the magma. Since at the beginning we're gonna do this manually, I'm just gonna set up 2 bottle emptiers. Now, can I do this in a meaningful way? I will probably be able to reach it from this spot, so I don't roast my dupe. So let's say I'm gonna dump the magma right here through this channel. Maybe we're gonna set something up right here. I'm gonna need a steel mechanized airlock since this is gonna be touching the magma. We don't want it to melt. But we basically hold back the magma right here, and then we can have another door in this spot in order to collect the magma in this tile before dropping it. Now, I actually started this build assuming you know what a petroleum boiler is, but just in case you don't know, we are using the magma heat in order to heat up oil and boil it to petroleum that we then can use. And the idea is essentially we pump in cold crude oil. On the way up with the crude oil, we cool down the petroleum that has been generated, and we can add more oil to the mix. Now, what we could actually do is continue the cabling here. This should all be safe. And then we hop through the wall here in order to feed a transformer. And as far as I remember, this can be a normal transformer. We just need a little bit of power. We can, for instance, set that up right here, and if I'm not mistaken, I can add a switch to this, maybe to turn off the entirety of the contraption if something goes wrong. Before we actually build everything, maybe we should think about the concept some more, otherwise I'm just gonna misplace a bunch of blocks and end up rebuilding it. We want a 2 wide area protected with a whole bunch of airflow tiles because they won't break with the conversion of oil, and sometimes we end up with too much pressure. Then as the flooring, I'm gonna have some aluminium tiles so we can transfer the heat as quickly as possible. We are gonna continue with the steel door, though I will have to produce some materials. This is easily done. Let's do 10 crafts in each of our metal refineries. Then this will probably be surrounded like that, though we'll have to transfer the heat here as well, and this will require some more steel tiles. We then go ahead, capture the magma in these 2 tiles. Because we're using doors, sometimes there is the risk of getting just a tiny bit more magma than 1 tile, so then when this is gonna drop, it might fill up the 2 tiles there. Eventually the oil is gonna be converted and the petroleum is gonna go towards the top, since the oil in this game is the liquid at the bottom, but it will essentially hop over a lip like so and then continue like such. And as of this point, we can utilize the rest of the real estate in order to do the cooling process. So we would end up with a pattern like this, probably. Actually 2 spaces between the levels are enough. Then go down here and continue. And I would say we first design the cooling system in order to know how far we have to go down. I think so far it's pretty similar to the design we made in the other series. I do not remember everything about it, I just know it worked quite well. We can already think about the placement of the auto sweeper. All we want to achieve is to be able to reach these 2 tiles. So we can either have it right up here or towards the side. Yeah, maybe this placement here would be a little bit more secure. You can go here, that is a safe distance from the dropping magma. And then finally, we're also going to need a robo miner, which, if I'm not mistaken, we haven't unlocked yet. The robo miner, but it is a fairly easy research, so we should be able to conduct that quickly. Alrighty, I kept on building a little bit and I ended up with a configuration as such, because this way the auto sweeper will be able to reach these two tiles, including the RoboMiner. No, actually the RoboMiner is misplaced. Oh jeez, I thought I figured it out. So I'm guessing we have to move the auto sweeper one block down after all. And so maybe in order for it to look right, we make some kind of a staircase pattern here. But basically we want to have a little bit of liquid on here in order to be able to cool down these two machines. The preparation I made here at the bottom is obviously what we are going to do with the steam chamber. We're going to have another steam turbine right here. And let me actually see, can I set up the liquid reservoir? Yes, perfect. I would like to see this here, and I also would like to see the pipes going out from the aqua tuner. I rotated it from the standard direction, and so what we can do is something along these lines. This would be the bypass, hopping over like so, and then the liquid would be coming from this direction going through the liquid pipe thermosensor. We can already go ahead and hook this up. We can also easily connect the wiring this way. And all we have to do is make sure we only cool down the steam turbine. The liquid reservoir doesn't have to be cooled. We're also going to do the piping from the steam turbine, and it just goes directly down like so. And then we're going to use some radiant pipes in order to cool down the steam turbine. So just before we finish the loop, we're also going to cool this one down, and then it's going to go back into the aqua tuner. Wait a second, this is wrong. We want this to go into the input. I cannot really rotate this around. I'm guessing we can do something like that, and then we go out from the liquid reservoir and we start cooling down at this spot. So we want to have two radiant pipes right here, and then I'm gonna continue more radiant pipes there. And I guess right here we can just finish the loop. Another radiant pipe here, so wherever we have metal tiles except here on the top, I'm just gonna do all, and then finally we can join back with the loop like that, and that should cool down all my machines. We'll have to set up even more pipes, and that will be for the cooling phase. Let's just go ahead and set up aluminium radiant pipes on each of the levels. And I'm gonna connect them on the sides with insulated pipes for no particular reason. I just think it's gonna look nice. And then finally at the very end, we wanna go ahead and drop the liquid possibly right here on the top. And of course, all of this is gonna come from a pump located here at the bottom. We can even go ahead and use the same cabling. Something else I forgot to do is to set up the conductive wiring and basically power up everything in the near vicinity. And then right here we'll have to switch to some more steel, but we also want to hook up the doors so they act quicker. And then right here, some more steel wires. Let's also go ahead and set up a liquid element sensor right here on the second tile. So as soon as we detect a little bit of oil, I want to prevent more liquid from entering, because that means something is either wrong or we cannot keep up, and I just don't want to start overpressuring it. So this is going to go directly up into the liquid vent, and we might want to do this with a NOT gate, right? Because if we detect oil, we want to send a red signal. Finally, something else we want to detect is the temperature right here. And this is going to go with a wire. Let's see, also switch that to steel as of this point, but it is going to influence the opening and shutting of this door. Additionally, we'll add a thermosensor here made out of steel, and that is going to decide when it is actually time to mine things up. We also have to make a timing for the doors. Obviously, we don't want any more magma than absolutely necessary. One steel automation wire here, and the rest we can do with iron. We want to influence both the RoboMiner as well as the auto sweeper. I set up a bottle emptier right here. We're going to use that to dump a little bit of crude oil. And we just want to fill this up with enough oil so it doesn't flash into petroleum or even worse, sour gas. Wonderful, we're almost done adding everything. Let's hook up the steam turbine. This tile can now be finished. We can already influence the door. That should be settled, and this door here doesn't actually need power, so we can suppress this. Now, what is supposed to happen right here? We want to detect a certain temperature, let's say below 400 degrees. We want to send a green signal. That means if the magma has cooled down so that it doesn't provide enough heat for the oil conversion, we want to go ahead, send a green signal to the auto sweeper and the RoboMiner. This is what is currently happening. However, then we want to continue the signal with a filter gate, and that is going to prevent the signal from continuing immediately. So what I would like to see here is the filter gate. This is going to go into the filter gate. Give me some automation wire. Then we're gonna continue, switch this automation wire to steel, and it's gonna go into this door. That means after a certain period, once we, mined everything up, if we give this enough time, then we are gonna open up the door and some new magma is gonna drop. This is then gonna turn the signal red, which means all of this is gonna be red and this door is gonna close again. And after that, we wanna open up this door. What if we just go ahead and make this a NOT gate? What would happen? We might want to do the same thing and just set up a little filter gate as a delay. Yeah, totally. We're gonna set up a filter gate and we're not gonna connect it right here. We're gonna go through the filter gate first and then move over and down. I have this switch enabled right now, but maybe this isn't even necessary. We can just disconnect these wires. I think we can go ahead and close this off. I'm also gonna close this one off. We'll have all of these rooms separated. Now looking at this, I might want to make this door here a little bit slower by just disconnecting it from the wires. Because opening up this door and closing this door will happen at the same time. And I would like this door to close immediately and then this one opening up very slowly. The other way around, it's not a problem because as soon as we get a red signal, this door is going to start closing and then only after a while, this door is going to open again. And we're going to set up a pretty secure delay. I'm going to go with 60 seconds for the mining part and then let's see here, 30 seconds or so should be enough. I don't think we're in a hurry, but we'll check out the exact timings once the machine is in action. I'm also going to drop a little bit of crude oil here on the power transformer. And I think we're just going to do one entire bottle here. With all that out of the way, I think we're ready to close the contraption and we have to pump it out entirely. That is going to be a slight pain in the butt. Let's maybe do 3 pumps. I also want to make sure we close everything off that is currently still open. And then I'm gonna make my way downstairs like so, just set up a ladder and I will be able to reach everything. We'll also have to power up these pumps, but I will be doing that in the next episode when it also comes down to cooling the items and giving this contraption a try by actually moving all the magma upstairs. Well, all the magma, enough magma. Great stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna make 2 parts out of this. Right now we built the entirety of the functionality except for the cooling down of the items. But the next step after actually pumping this out and making it a vacuum is going to be to add the oil. I made a mistake and cannot reach the conveyor loader anymore because when the auto sweeper was up there, it was able to reach it. Yeah, I think what we have to do is move the robo miner 1 down. Jeez, this is going to be annoying because we also have to move these metal tiles 1 down. Now I can have the robo miner here, it's still able to reach the tile, and once I place this all down, including the conveyor loader, I should be able to reach it again. Alright, nice. Now we have all the functionality back. Nothing is gonna change about this. In between the episodes, I'm gonna take myself the liberty of already preparing this by pumping it out, making a liquid lock to access everything, and then maybe one thing we can do to wrap things up is get the liquids necessary to keep things cool in there. I'm also going to remove other blocks out of the equation, so once we start pumping it out, we can also pump out these little rooms. I got some oil on my tiles, which is good. I just want to go ahead and mop up this one. I then want to make sure to pick everything up so we can safely close the room. Now, in order to build the robo miner, man, it just doesn't end, does it? There we go. I was able to build the robo miner and I should be able to revert this. So now the only thing that's missing is this one here, a little layer of oil. And of course we want to prevent any oil from touching this heavy watt conductive joint plate. And then we just keep open the sides here in order to utilize these pumps. Great stuff. With that out of the way, I'm really looking forward to enable this contraption and get our first petroleum in the joint. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. Have a great time and see you in the next video. Bye bye.